Good morning, everyone. Morning. So it's my pleasure to come here by giving some presentation from shop. I'm hopefully my pronunciation is enough good to translate it properly. Anyway, I'm coming up the slide, but let me introduce myself. Okay. Today we are talking about Sharp's digital transformation journey, especially happening in Europe. But let me talk just a little. Welcome to Nara. Actually, the main campus of Sharp B2B business located in Nara Prefecture. Welcome to Nara. Actually, I'm so familiar with this place, and it's my pleasure to come here. And what a great event! I wanna express, appreciation for all related community and contributors and volunteer engineers. Thank you so much. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we will be talking about the digital transformation journey with Drupal. Sharp has a long-term and strong relationship with the open source community and Drupal as well. Today, Jason did a lot of work to the digital transformation happened in Europe. So let me introduce myself just a little on the right-hand side. Actually, as I introduced, I'm co-COO, Executive Officer of Sharp Corporation, and also a head of B2B business in Sharp. Yeah, so I started my journey, from the master of electric engineering, master of electric engineering, sorry. So actually I was studying, plasma nuclear fusion. It's a really hot topic due to the, electricity demand is now skyrocketing, right? Due to the AI, data center. By the way, I started my career in product management and product marketing. Wow, how big changes, If I remain in that field, I might be reach a position, might be, but anyway. So I enjoyed, 27 years in Sharp and mainly B2C, business marketing and product management. Then, especially for mobile phone business in Sharp, especially in Japan, and now I'm in this position. So Jason, it's your turn.
Thank you. So, thank you everybody. It's great to be here, and again a welcome to all of you. In terms of my background, so I've been with Sharp Electronics Europe for just over 12 years now, and responsible for our product marketing and product management and MarTech stack for our European B2B business. As you can see, I started my career as a computer scientist actually. So one question I cannot answer is how does a nuclear scientist and a computer scientist get into marketing? But actually I got into computer science a very long time ago, so believe it or not, the picture on the left is called a teletype, and that was the console interface to a DEC, VAX 11750, so we're going back a long time. And actually, while I was still at university, IBM launched the XT and then the IBM AT. And as I was leaving university, Apple launched the Mac too. So, gosh, I'm sure there's not many people in here who can really remember that. But how the world has changed. But I'm still personally very passionate about technology and how technology can help our customers, and also how technology can help Sharp for the betterment of its own business as well, and we'll share a bit more about that as we go through this session. Back to you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Jason. Okay, firstly, I want to introduce Sharp B2B business just a little. What do you think of when you hear Sharp? So maybe you know Sharp, right? Hopefully. Okay. Yeah, so probably some of the guys would think of LCD TV Aquos. It is quite famous, both in Japan and Europe as well. Originally, it was a really, very big business for Sharp. What next? Microwave oven. Do you know Sharp is the world first company who developed microwave oven? In Japanese, we say a microwave oven, when it finishes the cook, it's some steam coming up, right? That is the invention of Sharp, actually. So the making sound after cook is one kind of, how should I say, marginal invention of Sharp regarding the microwave oven. How about cellular phone? If you know this, you must be, good taste. Because nobody knows Sharp outside Japan, right? So basically, more than 95% of mobile phone is sold in Japan, right? But originally, there was also in Europe and United States was quite little. But still in Taiwan and some Indonesia, some countries, Sharp phone are available. Actually, I'm from here. Very minority management, right? So the business scale is quite small. Okay, the first one is air purifier. It's also, a big segment that Sharp made. And finally, empty zone in the center. Hey, come on, the solar panel. It's a really famous, Starlink, OneWeb, Amazon Kuiper, a lot of, satellite is flying over, as you know. Actually, solar panel on the satellite bus is mostly Sharp. Maybe more than 50 or 60%. I don't know the accurate number, but maybe 50% or 60% of market share globally is made by Sharp. It's really surprising, But most of the guys, think of Sharp as a B2C business, right? It's a consumer business. Solar panel is not a consumer, but basically, brand itself is focusing on the B2C. Sounds like a B2C business. That is not true. Actually, this is our revenue composition. Business. If we see this pie chart, the red part is the B2B business as a revenue. Actually, 40% is coming from B2B business. What is Sharp's B2B business? Do you know that? It's a pretty big business actually, mainly for MFP, the copying machine, or projector or display. So industrial display, for example, for this kind of things, are really, really strong. But unfortunately, that machine was not made by Sharp, so that's good. No problem. But anyway, actually, Sharp B2B business is how should I say, while Sharp is really famous as a B2C business, but still very, very important for B2B business as well. Do you know what is the difference between B2C business and B2B business? Actually, B2B business has so many wide variety of the customer channels, right? So we are now focusing on the office channel, the retail channel, logistics, public. Might be some of the guys rent a car during this stay. Then if you fuel a gas station, self-gas station, maybe most of the machine, of the register machine, self-register machine is made by Sharp. It's a really, market share is more than 50 or something. It's quite high. So there are so many long tail, customer channels. And there are so many long-tail products as well. In the bottom line, you can see the industrial display, or MFP machine, or POS machine, laptop computer, and mobile communication is the handheld devices. So wide variety of products. It's not only that. There are so many products. It's like a very, how should I say, niche product, but a highly demanded product as well. So that's why. So Sharp is a comprehensive manufacturer with a long tail, so wide variety of products are available, and of course the business model is highly diversified. So many customers. Each customer has a different demand, right? We need to maintain all of the connection and the customer relations. So we have to manage it. So it is completely different from B2C business, right? That's why. So we continue to take on new challenges, how to manage this, content delivery and management. So that's why we take on this, Drupal thank you so much. So supporting this open source community. They are really highly dependent on this system actually. Right. So our mission is empowering collaboration around the world through technology and networks. Of course, technology and networks is a key driver of our growth, of course. At the same time, people is a core part of the business, right? The people need to collaborate with each other because we cannot work alone. We need to collaborate with the data to people to data, or we need collaborate between people to people. So a lot of collaboration is necessary to doing our daily business. So that's why. So our mission is empowering that collaboration using this web system or a lot of content management system as well. So that is a core portion of us. And especially today, Jason will be talking about the European market. European market is also special, because our number of customers are over 120,000. It's a really, really wide variety. And of course, countries, dozens of countries are there, right? Of course, the language, of course. So we need to manage those customer relationships, especially for B2B. B2C is very simple because the message is only one. Simply translation will be necessary, but the product is very, very fewer than compared to B2B business. That's why when it comes to B2B business, it's really important to manage in a very limited resources. Our number of experts sounds very good, but simply it's an employee simply, in other words. So number of our team would be only 2,500, but we have to manage, hundreds of thousands of customers, as a long-term customer, for thousands of products as well. We need to manage, very precisely, and without any mistake, without any wrong information, in several languages. That is our challenges actually. So that's why today, it's a zero part. But Jason will be talking about how challenging it is, and so still on the way, to be honest, right? We started, and maybe you have done the first phase already. We did our first phase digital transformation in our Sharp Europe. But the second phase is coming up, and still we are on the way. But we want to express my appreciation for you, open community, and Jason will be talking about that. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. So let's zoom in on Europe and explore our European business in a bit more detail, because that gives some context then to the mission with our MarTech stack and Drupal. So that's a view of Europe and all of the countries where Sharp Europe have offices and direct operations. So it's quite substantial. It is a big business covering most of Western and some of Eastern Europe. In actual fact, if we kind of look at the scale, the scope and the reach of that business, it's huge. So we have in total 63 Sharp direct offices throughout that European geography, 19 languages that we have to deal with, 11 different currencies, 48 countries, multiple sales channels. We have hundreds of indirect dealers, we have distributors, we have direct sales force across most of Europe. And as you've already seen, we service directly or indirectly 120,000 enterprises across Europe, with over 2,500 experts or employees. So that's huge, really. And not only that, when we look at the portfolio of products and services, as you've heard, it covers our multifunction devices, which is really at the heart of our business. It's been a big part of our business for a long time. But also the professional display solutions, as you've already heard, a very broad portfolio that we take to market. And then more recently, actually, Sharp in Europe has moved into the IT services space as well. So it's a very comprehensive B2B sort of technology-based proposition that we have. So put that all together, and it's big, it's complex, it's broad, it's deep, it's one Sharp business. But then when we come to our public website and our my tech stack, that's what it has to support for us in terms of how we take that out into the marketplace, how we engage with the marketplace, and how we capture ultimately those buying opportunities. So that's sort of part of the challenge. So if we just look at that slightly different in a bit more detail, so we have large enterprise, that's an important segment, and then small to medium enterprises as well. And then, as you already heard, across the top are document solutions, which kind of span the entry level of large enterprise down to sort of small businesses, not micro businesses, but certainly down to small businesses. Our display solutions, our professional display solutions, very much in that enterprise space and the mid-market space, because of the type of technology that we deliver in the formats. And then, more recently, our IT services, kind of tipping into large enterprise with our SAP ERP offerings that we take to market. And again, in that sort of mid-market space, that's a sweet spot for us really as a Sharp. But actually, when we look at the small business segment, because that's really where we've built out a lot of our business selling, photocopiers, MFPs, fax machines and things like that. And actually we have there roughly 110,000 small enterprise customers. So that's a huge customer base that we've got there. We're very kind of proud of that customer base. But moving forward, we have some different challenges. So when we look at that small enterprise business space, it's very much a transactional relationship these days, and it's low touch, it needs to be low touch for sure, and relatively short sales cycles. But we need to retain that customer base. It's really important to us, and quite honestly, it gives us a solid foundation to develop the rest of the business on. The high end, very much opportunistic, so we don't target the high end of large enterprise, but actually we do have credibility in that space. So, when the opportunity comes along, of course we'll take it. But then that sweet spot of that mid-size enterprise, that's where we see the opportunity for Sharp to really grow that out. Because you don't need to be a PwC or an IBM or an Accenture, but actually you do need to be a reasonable sized corporation, to deliver that breadth of services into there. So again, when we look at it in terms of engaging with the marketplace and our public website, it needs to service all of those different types of customers in those different segments with those different offerings. So again, quite complex in many ways. And part of the challenge is, particularly when we look at it from a product, a device perspective, the reality is some of those markets that we're in, particularly the print market, it's a mature marketplace. That's the reality. And so, often in those situations, manufacturers are confronted with declining device prices, always increasing labour costs and production costs. So that means that as a provider, as a manufacturer, we need to reduce the cost to serve of those products, particularly when we're looking at those small businesses, those small enterprises that are really precious to us. But also we need to add value to those sort of commodity products, and that's really where IT and services and software and those things come in. So we change the proposition for our customers. But also, of course, the customer buying process, as we all know, has been changing for many years in actual fact. And moving increasingly, not 100% yet, but maybe one day, from that analog to digital buying experience. So again, we need to kind of factor that in. Of course, today, there's the new consultant for our customers, which is the AI agents. So again, that just brings a whole new dynamic into the digital environment and into commerce as well. So, for a while we've been changing our business model. We have to change our business model, and we'll continue to do so, of course. But equally, we have to maintain our customer satisfaction as well. And I think that's an important part of the Sharp value proposition that we bring to our customers. That's one reason why people buy into Sharp. So let's go back 6 years. 6 years ago, I was looking at our MarTech stack, and it was past its sell-by date. It was the brutal truth. And actually, we hadn't done a lot in terms of investing into it for many years. And there was a price to pay because actually we needed to refresh that whole environment. But when we looked at that full MarTech stack, so not just the public website, but also the e-commerce, our dealer portals, our CRM, and so on. Actually, it's a huge task, yeah? And I remember when we were looking at it, it's like, this is going to cost a lot of money, yeah? But not just money, but time and resource from the business. So it's a big problem, yeah? But actually, it was a problem we couldn't ignore, yeah? Because even 6 years ago, it's very clear that digital was just going to continue to expand its footprint in terms of commerce, and we talked about B2B being led by consumer when it comes to the use of digital in that procurement life cycle. And again, that was just going to continue. We have millennials already moving into roles of being not just influencers but also decision makers in businesses, and Gen Z not too far away on the horizon. So really, ultimately, a truly digitally native society. So we couldn't continue to rely on that analogue way of doing business. But of course, what we needed therefore was a MarTech stack that was fit for purpose and fit for that future. And again, that task that we have is going to take quite a long time. So you don't get to the end of the journey if you don't start it rather. So we needed a strategy actually to allow us to kind of figure out how we're going to approach that and to convince the organisation that it was the right thing to do. But with many things, you can kind of, you have the glass, and the glass is either half empty or it's half full, depending on your perspective. So really, it's an opportunity for us to, in refreshing that whole MarTech stack, to make our operation more efficient and more productive, which is one of the things that we needed to do anyway, and therefore reduce that cost to serve, in terms of our customer base. And of course, vitally, to kind of be present where our customers of today and our future customers were going to do business. And kind of finally as well, actually, to take our precious human capital and actually to deploy that where we get best value for the business, and also, quite honestly, I think best value for the individuals as well. So that transformation challenge really, and how we kind of approached it, was to craft a vision for the sales and marketing organisation. And position the need as this is a ticket to the game. It's not optional. It's just table stakes in actual fact. And as I said, we need to be where customers are going to be purchasing, and it's the biggest shop window in the world, isn't it? Your public website. So we need to have the best shop window in the world, therefore. And we have to deliver the right experiences that our future customers expect when they go online in terms of that whole customer journey. And of course, if we're convincing or trying to convince customers to buy into Sharp and buy the digital experience that we can deliver as Sharp, clearly they have to have a fantastic digital experience when they're looking in that shop window before they then go into the store. So with that in mind, we created a transformation roadmap, again to show that it's a journey, and it's not just about refreshing the public website, because we have that whole ecosystem that ultimately needs to be refreshed, and at each stage of the journey, what is the return on investment? There's nothing free, and we have to clearly demonstrate that the ROI will actually be there. And so we created that vision. For me as a marketing organisation, it was, I think, a great opportunity and a great position to be in, to say ultimately we need to get to that one-to-one marketing, hyper-personalisation, actually, and we need to exchange value. Again, it's all about, we want the data on our customers, on their businesses, but we need to give them something back, so that was important. But ultimately, it's about creating demand for our sales organisation, and then actually, for the way we're structured, to actually help with how we transact and sell, and that's the e-commerce aspect. So, as a marketing business, our opportunity was to help grow the business, contribute to revenue, but also contribute to reducing the cost of the business as well. So that's a great position to be in. Less fluff, more deliverables. Starting point. Public website, that was the place for us to start. That was our most pressing need. How did we approach it? Well, we need to have the right business requirements. Clearly, we needed to have the right technology in place. We absolutely need the right partner to help us on that journey, with the right or compelling return on investment. And how did we go about that? Well, we go through discovery, then we go through consultancy, and then we go to tender. So not, let's say rocket science, but not nuclear science. But it's a process, so we follow the process. And I'll just call out some of the business requirements, and again this kind of relates to ultimately the decision that we made on Drupal. Clearly language support, enterprise scale, and that's what Drupal is about, that's where it clearly positions itself. Security, really important. I remember at the time people saying, we just put WordPress in place. Yeah, dead easy. It's like, really? How do you spell security? But they're the things that are important to us. Open source, as I already heard, Sharp Corporation, open source is really important to the company, and of course Drupal has that. A huge pool of developers and so on. From a technology point of view, we needed a platform that has the right APIs for us so that we can connect into that ecosystem and the future ecosystem, and we don't know what those platforms will be, but we need something that gives us the confidence that whatever it is, we can connect to it. It needs to be scalable, it needs to be in the cloud, and of course actually from an administrator point of view and content editors, again, we need a great experience for those people because they spend a lot of time interacting with the CMS at the back end. Our partner, even with the best technology in the world, if you don't have the right partner, you're not going to get the best out of that technology, that's for sure. And Sharp is, as you've probably heard and getting the idea, we're large and we're complex. And therefore we need a partner that actually has experience in dealing with enterprises like Sharp Corporation. But these are long-term relationships actually, and just to have a partner, the time it takes them to understand our business and our business processes and culture and all of those things, that takes time so we can get best value. So our attitude actually with many of our suppliers actually is that it's partnerships, because we invest and they invest. So the chemistry has to be right as well. And of course the other things you really expect from a partner in that space. Cost, again, another part of those requirements. But also security as well is an interesting one because if you fail with security, there is a very high price to pay, for sure. So, Drupal and 1x Internet. Drupal is a platform and 1x is our partner. We've been together for quite a number of years now and looking forward to the next few years as well. But that's what took us to Drupal and 1x. So, what's been our experience then? We've just kind of gone through actually repositioning our brand in Europe, and we've refreshed the look and feel of the website. Certainly started it on the front end, so just some screen grabs from there. But our experience then is 17 sites, 19 languages. It's absolutely delighted our internal stakeholders. It's from a marketing community, it's a delight for them to interact with the platform at the back end. The creativity that they can now have, and actually the value they can now add in terms of how we engage with the marketplace, and ultimately those marketing qualified leads that we create for our sales organisation. So really, really important there. We've seen a real optimisation in our website traffic. One of the problems that we had actually was that we were attracting a lot of consumer traffic as well, and our business is purely B2B. So what we had to work on as well was actually making sure that the consumer goes to the right Sharp website so they get the right experience quickly, rather than having to click their way through lots of things and discover they're in the wrong place. And then that allows us to actually focus on those B2B journeys, so that ultimately we have the best opportunity to convert them into marketing qualified leads. The platform absolutely gives us the agility and flexibility that we need, so we can run A/B testing campaigns, for instance. We can keep up with changes quite rapidly, so accessibility is a big thing, certainly in Europe, and make sure we comply with those laws. And again, we're able to do that quite quickly. 1x are able to do that quite quickly for us, and that brand refresh as well. So ultimately, really satisfied with the platform and with our partner. So much so that we've moved beyond the public website. We're just going live now, actually, with a new portal for our dealers in the European marketplace. We looked at taking off-the-shelf dealer portal solutions, actually, but we rapidly kind of discovered that we could do a better job of building one that really meets our needs, but actually at a lower cost than sourcing these off-the-shelf solutions and then having to try and configure them or kind of change our business to work with the platform. So again, I think that just really shows the flexibility that Drupal actually offers for us. We're going to enhance the public website even further next year, and just really meets our strategic objectives. So if we just kind of step back a bit and have a look at our MarTech stack now as it is today. We've got Drupal at the heart there with the public website, and also now with our dealer portal there. We actually recently implemented a new PIM as well, because we had a PIM that's probably about 20 years old. Sharp had developed it themselves. All the people who developed it had left, and so actually we were quite nervous about touching the PIM, which is really not a good place to be. So we've recently implemented a new PIM, which is the source of truth clearly for all of our product-related data that drives our public websites. And actually in the future we will connect that to our Adobe e-commerce website as well. We also have Acton, which is our marketing automation platform that connects through to the Drupal public website, which then feeds, of course, the many CRMs that we have. If you look at SuperOffice, I think we have about 8 different versions of SuperOffice on-premise, in cloud, and so on. So, but nonetheless, that's something for the future. That's broadly how it looks. We have the Adobe Commerce platform in there, so we went live with that 2 years ago, which again actually allows us to reduce our cost to serve for our dealers. So that allows them to order all the consumables that they need to order, all of the parts for their service organisations, and now more recently actually for the products as well. So it's more efficient for them, it's more efficient for us, and it delivers overall a better experience. And with an eye to the future, it also gives us a strong platform and experience to extend that actually to our direct sales operations as well. Again, to lower the cost to serve for those small businesses, that 110,000 small businesses that we actually support. So our lessons learned really, one is best laid plans always change. So be prepared to adapt, really have the right partner. Bring the organisation with you, bring the business with you when you're going through these huge change projects. That's so important. One of my favourite ones, IT, they're your best friend, not your worst enemy. I'm not an advocate of shadow IT. I don't think it works. I'm a marketing organisation, even though I have a degree in computer science. And we have a fantastic relationship with our IT organisation, and I think that's been one of our secrets to success as well, quite honestly. Manage expectations, and you cannot communicate too much. So if you do all of those things, you're going to do well. And also treat your partner, your supplier, your partner as an extension of your team. And if you have that relationship, again, I think both sides get more out of that relationship. And one of the other kind of lessons we had was, it is a never-ending story, and it's great that we get the investment to do the refresh, but you can't stop there. You need to continue, because you guys know this, it's just that pace of change, and it's very easy to fall behind very quickly, and then to close the gap becomes very expensive in many ways. So you need to keep on it, really, but demonstrate the value. Right, okay, getting there. So the future, the future still is quite complicated. So the diagram on the left, so we've done a lot of work optimising the MarTech stack, but actually that's really for our print business and our kind of IT business. We then have this display business, which actually was partly made up of an acquisition from NEC, so we acquired their display business as Sharp, and there was a whole load of infrastructure that came with that. So now is the time to optimise that. So we need to go through it all again. But the good news is actually we know what we're doing, and we've got the technology in place to make that an easier journey in actual fact. And then a number of other things there. So really, in conclusion, success is not kind of based on one thing on its own. It's a whole number of things, but it's how you kind of orchestrate those things to deliver the best success that you can. Bit of a broken record, that's not so archaic these days. Vinyl's coming back, isn't it? So again, your partner is so important to success as well. don't seek perfection, and we talk a lot about MVP and things like that, and you get continuous progress that way. But don't compromise on quality. That's the other important thing, including things like security as well. And the future just seems to come at us faster and faster and faster. AI is really supercharging that as well. So don't ignore it, don't reject it, embrace it, but do it at your pace as well. That's the other thing. So, for me, Drupal, absolutely the right choice. We've been on the platform for 3 years and we'll be on there for many, many more years to come. And if you are interested in anything you've heard about today, even satellites with solar panels, please visit Sharp's website, have an explore, and maybe there'll be something of interest for you. So, thank you from both of us.